Hi guys, Ray here, City Fan TV. I'm joined by Bernard and Mr. Bolt from the Blue himself, Mike Long. How you doing? I'll start with Bernard. How you doing, Bernard? Had a good day?
Wonderful, mate. I mean, I put this shirt up in the background because it was our lucky shirt, wasn't it? The old 4-3 at Tottenham, if you remember, if we were wearing that. But it didn't do much bloody use, so it's coming down tomorrow.
And we've got Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, greetings from Belfast, guys. How are you doing?
Oh, but Jesus, Mary, Mother of God.
Are you in Northern Ireland?
Northern Ireland, you're a bit more rougher.
I'm in Northern Ireland.
Paisley.
We're having a Josh and a jape and a laugh, but it's serious business tonight. Normally tonight, I was ready to carry on the laying into Pep that started yesterday because by golly, he deserves it. Regardless of all the good stuff he's done, I'm looking at the here and now. I'm looking at the future, and he's cocking up big time right now. But some other news has come to surpass the trials and tribulations of Manchester City on the pitch. And we're going to talk about, for about 15, 20 minutes, what's been going on off the pitch. Obviously, if you've seen the thumbnail, the Premier League are trying to bust Man City wide open with these charges. And we're going to have a quick look at them. And then I'll ask the guys what they think and how they feel. Okay. Start off by this. There's a lot of people watching right now. Anybody new to the channel, please subscribe. Help us to get to 900 subscribers. Hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. And give us a like if you like it. Press Rich Brew is around. He's not been on Twitter today. To be honest, I don't think he'll tell you more than Bernard will be able to tell you, because Bernard's been on the case, on the button today. I tell you what, he knows more than me. Let's put it that way. And I've been on blooming radio tonight talking about this. So let's get it open with what has gone on first. Let me pick up the Premier League statement. Okay. Now there's going to be a Premier League commission is going to be convened, and they're going to look at these alleged breaches. Now, briefly, it says going back to 2009, 2010, up till the end of the Centurion season. Okay. Now, it's basically saying we have not, in good faith, given them accurate financial information that gives a true and fair view of the club's financial position, in particular with respect to revenue, including sponsorship revenue, related parties, and operating costs. Okay. And there's a lot of, basically something for every single season that they're investigating. Next, for the same period, 2009-10 till, 2009-10 till 2012-13, we didn't give full details of manager remuneration. Basically, that's what we paid the manager. I think that relates to Bobby Mancini getting paid some money from out in the Middle East. And then from the 2010-11 to 2015-16 season, we didn't give proper player remuneration, okay, in relevant contracts. So there's a lot of stuff there. There's other bits and pieces. We didn't comply with UEFA's regulations, even though UEFA, basically we got off. Some argue on a technicality because they were time barred. A lot of the acquisition, plus UEFA found not proven in other cases. I think that's right. And then there's also some stuff about profitability and sustainability that we've got an issue with. And finally, from 2018 to now, we haven't cooperated and assisted with the Premier League in its investigation, including by providing documents and information to the Premier League in the utmost good faith. Okay. Now, the commissions are independent of the Premier League, so they say, and member clubs, even though I think the chairman is an Arsenal board member. So-called independence anyway. The members of the commission will be appointed by the independent chair of the Premier League judicial panel. The proceedings before the commission will, in accordance with Premier League rules, be confidential and heard in private. Okay. The commission's final award will be published on the Premier League website. And a couple of other bits I'll have to tell you guys. Now, under Premier League rules, you can't go to CAS. Now, if you remember with the UEFA case, which they actually sanctioned us on Valentine's Day on the 14th of February a few years ago. And I remember that evening I was on Sky Sport not Sky Sports. I think I was on Sky News. So no chance of any romantic dinner or anything with the missus. And at least they've given us a bit more, a week's notice this time. So my Valentine's Day won't be ruined this time. So under the UEFA case, we could take it to CAS. We got off at CAS, basically. Now, with the Premier League case, it won't go to CAS. The Premier League rules say it won't go there. But we can appeal. And if we appeal, if we lose, both the Premier League and City can appeal. If they think, if we get off and they think we shouldn't have, they can appeal, and vice versa. That will go to another panel. So in terms of two important things before we get the guys in. One, when will this be resolved? We don't know. Okay, I'm suggesting it will not be resolved this season. Probably at best sometime next season. That's my feeling. It's going to probably take a good 12, 18, 24 months to get to resolve. It's taken 4 years to get to where we are now, to have charges drawn. So I think it'll take up to a couple of years. Then if there's another an appeal, it might take another year after that. So I'm looking at 2 or 3 year timeline. So, people worried that KDB will leave and Haaland will leave and everything. I tell you what, guys, before this comes to case, KDB will have retired from City. So will Mahrez. Bernardo will have left. And Gundogan would
Rico Lewis would have retired as well by the time.
I tell you what, let's hope so, because if Rico Lewis is retired, that's about 15 years down the line. We might not be here. So we might not see the resolution.
I'll be retired. I'll be up there somewhere.
Yeah. So, but hey, if you're up there,
down there,
well, I'll tell you what. But if you are up there or down there, at least this wouldn't have been resolved.
Because this is purgatory, mates. This is purgatory. So I'd rather go up there or down there.
Okay, so that's when I think that's my idea of the timeline, and also what are the punishments? Wide-ranging punishments. I think if City are found guilty, the punishments will depend on the number of breaches and the severity of those breaches. Now, there might be some minor stuff. There might be some really, really major stuff. So we don't know. Possible sanctions, you can get a points deduction, apparently. Maybe you can be relegated. Maybe you can be stripped of titles. Maybe you can get a fine. Maybe a transfer ban. Lots of things there. And because there's no time bar, the Premier League can go back to 2010, which the UEFA couldn't. And the Premier League are actually looking at some of the UEFA stuff as well. So there's a lot to unpack on this. So I'm going to start with Bernard, because I know Bernard's been pretty much on top of the ball. What's your feeling, Bernard? I mean, if City are guilty, what punishment do you think they deserve, and will you carry on supporting City?
Well, I'll answer that last question first. Of course I will. I mean, I look forward to going to FC United, places like that. Not that I'll get tickets, mind you, because I don't have enough points, so I'll still be knackered for them games. But this Premier League, I mean, for me, it's all linked in with the UEFA. It's all linked in with the UEFA, and it all kicked off this. I didn't even know this Premier League fair play existed at one stage. I remember years ago, and I think Colin was talking about it, and I thought, what the hell's this? And I think Colin was sort of trying to think back, might remember as well. He was sort of saying, obviously, that there's a variation of it, but obviously what UEFA were trying to do was on. Obviously, the Premier League were picking up on things. All right, if they can go back to 2009-10 and pick up on things that UEFA couldn't pick up on, then I think they might be in trouble. But the thing is with City, we were chasing our tails, weren't we? We were forced to start. The goalposts were altered by UEFA, and we were forced to chase our tails and do different things. Now, I don't for 1 minute believe over the last 5 or 6 years we've done particularly anything wrong. I think we've probably got our game in order. We know how to do things. I'm not saying that before that, like any big club, there's ways around doing things with players, with managers. There's lots of different things. But why the hell is it us for a start, which is wrong? But if we are found guilty of things, I can't see. Educated minds are saying the worst that would happen is a fine or a deduction of points. I mean, these Liverpool United fans are getting all giddy thinking they'll win another 3 titles each. I mean, that's not going to happen. They're living in dreamland, and it's quite laughable to listen to them. But what annoys me, it just brings them all out. It just brings all the nutters out again, and it's going to go on for months, as you said. It could go on for 18 months, 2 years, even longer. And it's just wearing me down as a supporter. Of course, I'll support City whatever happens. There's no doubt about that. But and I think the Sheik will stay there, because at the end of the day, he's got too much invested in this.
Yeah,
to walk away and be, and I think we will fight it. But it's just so bloody annoying that this has come up now. And I'll let Mike have a quick go. I'm just frustrated with it all, mate, to be honest with you. But as I said, I don't think it'll end up with anything too bad at the end of it. It'll just all be, we'll give you a slap wrist and all this, and every other fan will say, "Oh, you got away with it again." But it's pathetic.
Look, before I bring Mike in, I've got to say, City have been down dodgy ground many, many years in the past. We've had, let's say, dodgy owners like Peter Swales. We've had, back in the 1910s, was it? We had the players that were banned for match fixing.
1904-05 season, it all happened after. Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, you were there. I remember.
Yeah, I was there. I was on the stands. I was shouting at the FA then.
I only went back to the 1910s. That was my time. You went back another 10 years. So City have been here, have had problems before. We've almost gone out of business a few times, I think, or got into administration. We've dropped down 2 leagues. And yet here we are, at the top. Fans will never go. So City will carry on. Whatever happens, whoever the custodians are, City will carry on. I'm going to bring Mike in. Mike, how much attention have you paid to what's been going on today? And what are your thoughts? Is this simply a vendetta against Manchester City, or could there be something in all these allegations?
Well, I don't think it's a vendetta. I think that this was totally to be expected. I mean, I think that when we got off with the CAS decision, people kind of forgot about this, that the Premier League were starting their investigation. It's been going on for 4 years. Now, I think that there are 2 sets of years involved, and the latter 5 years concerns simply non-compliance.
Yeah,
with them,
or not being helpful. I think it's not been helpful.
So you're going to, whatever happens, you're going to get some kind of sanction for that. Probably not a very serious one, but the most serious ones referred to the previous 9 years. Now, I would suggest that if CAS could have done us for those various infringements, including Mancini, they would have done. And of course,
they couldn't, Mike, because of the time bar. There were some issues with the time bar, some issues with them not wanting to go there.
A lot of them, but it was not just that they were time barred, but they were not established. Was the other criteria?
Yeah, there was 2:
not established or time barred.
Yeah.
So if UEFA could have persuaded CAS on the ones that weren't time barred, that were just not established, they would have done. So I'd imagine that the City lawyers will they'll use the same arguments again that they did with UEFA over the ones that were not time barred, that were just not established. So I would reckon that those are likely to be successful again, because UEFA and CAS, as I said before, if they could have done us on that, they would have done. They just couldn't establish it. So I think a lot of those arguments will apply. I think the reaction to the charges was entirely predictable. I mean, as Bernard alluded to, Arsenal and Liverpool hoping, saw Goldbridge on Twitter and everything today, hoping that they're going to get titles and trophies given to them. No, that's not going to happen, as you said. But I think the one reason why people should dampen down a little bit is, as you said, Ray, this is not going to be resolved for a couple of years.
Yeah. So, I'll have whatever hair I've got left will all be grey by the time this is resolved. I'm going to go through a couple of points. I say, hola, ¿cómo estás? To Celso Pereira Magalhaes Jr. He says we need more sponsorship, not linked to Kowloon only. We need a better sponsoring strategy. We need to attract more money. We've got plenty of money. The problem is going to be surrounding most of the early days. Now, as Bernard has mentioned, the goalposts were moved. City felt we had a problem with FFP in the early days because UEFA moved the goalposts on player wages. Now, I remember going years and years back, there was talk of City moving some expenses out of the club into a separate company. Some people said I think that was marketing or something. That was just to get it off the books. Now, in one season, one of the claims that I heard today was we made an extra 75 million in income and we cut our expenses by 25 million, which was huge. And that helped us to pass FFP that year. I think it was back 2014, 2016, around that sort of time. So there's a lot going on. There's also talk about this related parties and stuff. As I said this afternoon on the stream I did, you've got to remember that City's accounts are audited, not by Joe Bloggs, on Dingsgate or something. They're audited by a big firm of accountants. I used to work for PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. They were massive, London offices. We had loads of London offices. We had thousands of staff. Can you imagine a company having thousands of staff just in London? Then we got offices around the country. So all these big firm of accountants, they're huge. PwC at the time, they were the biggest firm of accountants in the world. And they're auditing, not PwC, but a big firm of accountants are auditing Manchester City's accounts. So they put their name to it and their reputation. And I talked about, some of you are not old enough to remember Arthur Anderson's and when they went kaput because they did the Enron audit. And Enron basically was built on false numbers. They went out. Some of their executives went to jail. And Arthur Anderson's huge firm, one of the top 5 firms in the world, disappeared almost overnight. So and lots of new regulations have been put into place to make sure this doesn't happen again. So I don't think any firm would be overlooking this. UEFA in the past have accepted our related party stuff. The auditors have accepted our related party stuff, so there's nothing there. So I don't know how the Premier League will prove that. I have no idea. But there's a lot of charges against us. And so we've moved away mostly from Khaldoon. I wouldn't call it Khaldoon money, but Middle East or UAE-based money. We've moved away from that. I'm going to go through a few points. I'm going to bring the lads in again. The Hordes are on Twitter. Let's go through this. About how he's looking forward to this. No, that ain't going to happen. Look, Colin Pollock, he says, American owners want no competition. They want no relegation and they do not want to be relegated like a lot of the sports in America. They're all done on franchises. They know, and basically those franchises allow them to plan well into the future, to put pressure on cities. So that's actually cities are building stadium, spending $1 billion or something, building a new stadium for the franchise, which is crazy because they want all the business that comes with that. They know that income can keep going up, and then they can try and put a break on the expenses by not compensating the players as incomes goes up. So, but basically, that's how they're going to make their money. And yes, there's going to be plenty of this. We know Liverpool and Man United have, they were the big two trying to break away and kind of be in charge. They've been part of the European Super League and everything else. So there's a lot of animosity towards City. They would love it if there was no City around, because we all know FFP was initiated basically. It was to stop clubs like United going into huge debt. Then they changed it. It doesn't stop clubs going under. We've seen that with small clubs like Oldham struggling, Bury disappearing, and lots of clubs around the Northwest having severe financial problems. It's changed to affect teams like City and PSG, who had a load of money, and it just meant the Italian clubs couldn't compete. You've seen that no one's competing with English clubs really in money terms now. It's only if you're mega like Bayern Munich, like the two in Spain, Barcelona and Real Madrid. No one else can compete with England and PSG money-wise. It's a crazy situation, but it is what it is. So everybody's jealous. You don't have you got so many big clubs, really, who need Champions League. Spurs need it. Arsenal need it. City need it. United need it. Liverpool need it. Chelsea need it. There's 6. Newcastle, they're going to get to a stage where they need regular Champions League, only 4 slots. this could actually pave the way for a European Super League. I'm just going to put it out there because Sheikh Mansour he's rich enough to say, screw you all. Screw you all. I'll put 100 billion or 50 billion behind a European Super League. And that will just blow everybody out of the water. And the FA and UEFA and FIFA might say, we're going to ban you and all this. I don't think it's going to get to this, but Sheikh Mansour can just say, I tell you what, I'll buy everybody. He could be so brassed off with how he's treated. I'll buy everybody. I've said this years ago. I said it with UEFA when they were chasing City and problems with FIFA. You can just set up another one because everybody will go to the money. You set up a new FIFA, a new look how many governing bodies you have in boxing. It's a remote possibility, but this, you take on the big boys, and City are one of the big boys. You take a risk of City saying, right, we're going to screw you. We're going to get into all the other clubs. We're going to bring them down, or we're going to bring the league down. Look at the alleged corruption in the league and the sort of stuff they've done, colluding with Man United and Liverpool to do stuff to benefit them. So the Premier League aren't saints in the way they've worked out. Let's go to a few comments and then I'll bring the boys back in, give them a chance to think of something else to say. All hot air, get fine, move on. If we beat the PL, sue them. Well, you'll get more people hating you, but why not? Why not bring them to the knees? I don't think it's as simple as that, Big Morgan. It could be, but a lot of the stuff came out in the Panama Papers, the Der Spiegel stuff. So a lot of this, I think, is coming from there. Pep's interview with 9 clubs. I think there's a couple of things about that. Possibly, I don't think he's referring to this. I don't think so, because City didn't get any much forewarning at all about what was going to happen. I don't believe today. But also, Pep doesn't want to really talk too much about what's going on the pitch because we're shite on the pitch. So he wants to talk about stuff that's going on off the pitch. Let's see what Blackpool Blu-ray said. Premier League have also taken into consideration the bribe scandal from 1906.
There is actually a thought that City have done this ourselves just to take people's mind off how crap we are at the moment on the pitch. So there is a little chain of thought that's happened. Yes, it's a bad news day thing. Release the bad just to temper something else.
Yeah, it's a dead cat bounce. The odds to but seems Goldbridge are stuffed them. Look, if nothing else, even if did it 27 years ago, I still am a qualified accountant and chartered tax advisor. I did my time. I did my exams. I'm a fellow of my association because I'm that old. I've been qualified that long. I don't remember everything, but these guys don't know anything about finance. That's bottom line. I said it this afternoon. All clubs will try and flirt with the rules and get the financial regulations and the tax regulations to their best possible advantage within the law. Now, Chelsea, within the rules, they're offering 7.5, 8.5 year contracts, which seems ridiculous. Hey, but they're playing within the rules. The rules allow them. The rules will change, but currently the rules allow them. And I hope that's going to come out with City. Well, Celso, we've not been found guilty yet. Give us a chance, mate. Let us be found guilty, then let us be punished. Then, if we'll appeal that. Let's have a look. Point is, public opinion ain't great. City were incandescent with rage last time with the UEFA one. They said a lot of stuff, and I think it'll be the same. They'll really have a lot of the journalists don't know anything. I heard Jamie Carragher talking rot today. Klopp in the past has talked a load of rubbish. They don't know anything. Yeah, most fans don't know anything. Let's be honest. And I remember I did call Jamie Carragher ignorant because they are. There's a lot of rubbish spouted by people who don't know anything. Like even today, I assumed wrongly that it could go to CAS. It won't. It will. The best if we're found guilty is to have an appeal to another independent panel. It is very intricated, initiated, I think you mean to say, by the elite clubs. I don't know what you meant initially. If the loser going to mean, their problem is if City and Newcastle suddenly start to dominate, where does that leave Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, United? Spurs, 5 clubs fighting for 2 spots in the Champions League. You know, if they get a chance, they'll kick City and Newcastle out into the long grass and get 5 spots for the Champions League, and all 5 of them will qualify. Citizens want the Super League. Big Monks is Bernard in charge of the new league. Even if we're brought down, we'll fight back. Yeah. Well, I don't think they'll fight. I think there's a possibility FFP won't be declared illegal, even though it should be. There's a lot of water to go under the bridge. I'm going to bring the guys back in. Have you any more comments, Bernard? Rather than me asking you a question, have you got anything you want to say about
obviously, I don't take a lot of thing with City Extra with their stuff they put out, but this is the latest. This is the latest we're getting the last 2 or 3 hours. That City always knew that this day would come, and we look forward to showing that when CAS ruled it in our favour, it was not because of a mere technicality, which is assuming obviously we have stuff. But I've heard things about the Premier League, come on, it's like UEFA, come on, but the skeletons in the cupboard. You pointed, I think you mentioned it at the start of this program. There's so many things, and if you want to come out fighting, let's come out fighting dirty if we need to.
Yeah.
But for me, if we did, that means there's certain things that 100-odd charges that might just stick and be a bit painful. So, yeah, as I said, we've got to hear all these sort of rumours and crap now. That's from Mullock in the Mirror. So
Mullock said there was something that City Extra tweeted. Okay, I'm going to try and see if I can find it. I don't normally comment on. I don't ever comment on City Extra stuff.
No, I never just get it from someone else because I don't follow them. I'm not interested.
So
in
what they
said, usually anti-City stuff they put out half the time.
Okay. City Extra said Man City claim to have proof that some media outlets were briefed before they'd even been made aware of the Priel's announcement, and that's via Mullock from the Mirror. Okay, so what? Bottom line is, honestly, so what? As Stephen Borson said, trivialized that because it is trivial. It doesn't make a difference if they have briefed, and I think the Times possibly were briefed. If they have briefed some media outlets, so what? It doesn't. You can't just shoot the messenger or the way the message is being delivered or whatever. You've got to deal with what you've got. And I said the thing about this, it's a copy-based business model from the City Extra. Okay, is that when people are pasting absolute rubbish, you copy it and paste it. They paste absolute rubbish. So that, but they paste everything, and people are trying to hold on to it and say, well, that's going to be good. That's going to be in City's favour. No, it's not. It makes not a jot of difference whether they've briefed somebody or not. If this was in a court, I really doubt whether the court was going to say, I tell you what, we're going to let you off because they briefed the press. No, I don't think so. But I think if continuing briefing of the press, there's going to be a problem because you're going to end up, like City said with UEFA, you're not independent with the way you're behaving. There's no way they should be getting briefed. But it generally is the usual suspects. It's the Murdoch press. It's the Sun and the Times who are getting these stories. Sometimes you ask yourself how and why are they getting these stories. I'm going to bring Mike back in. What do you think, Mike? Is FFP something? Do you want it to be illegal? Should it be illegal?
I'd like to see an even playing field for it. I don't know how what Chelsea have done fits into the model that they're hoping to promote, but what I thought was quite interesting, I don't know if you saw this, guys, that came across my Twitter timeline. It's an insider from the City legal team who basically scoffed at the Premier League statement and said that before that statement went out, they'd received a briefing about what was to occur, and he said it was full of inaccuracies and errors, and it made them laugh. It made them all laugh. And they were thinking, if this is what we've got to contend with, this is no problem. We're all over it. So I don't know if you saw that one, but that was interesting.
I saw that, but my feeling is I don't believe it. I honestly do not believe that a City insider, if you're near the top, would be so bullish as to 100 charges set, to be so bullish as to expect nothing to come because of the ineptitude of maybe the way the Premier League put this all together and the mistakes that they may have made in laying down the charges. Here's the thing. Whenever you go to court, no matter how strongly you think your case is, there's still a chance you lose. Look, I've lost cases where I knew I was right. I knew the other party was lying or thieving or whatever, and you still lost. It can happen, okay? It really can happen. So I can't believe anybody at City walking around like Billy Big Bollocks and saying, we're all right, now it's going to happen. Because you just don't, you're never that convinced. Court cases can go against you. Look, O.J. Simpson got off. Come on, guys. O.J. Simpson got off the first time. So court cases, no matter how guilty you might be, you can still escape. So, you know, you can argue at Cass, City were guilty, but we got off and got lucky. Maybe, maybe not. We don't really know. And it's the same here. You know, as I said, I don't believe anybody's going to come out and say that because it's just a silly thing to say. You know, look, obviously everybody's worried. You've got to have the back of your mind. You're worried about several things. You're worried that City have done something wrong, and opposition fans will label as a dirty club. Same way Juventus have been labelled a dirty club in Italy, and that stigma will be there for decades. And as long-time fans, we don't want people to slag off our club. It gets our backs up. So that's one issue that obviously we're concerned about. We're concerned that we might be found guilty. I doubt we'll be stripped of titles, but you never know. You know, that would really hurt us. But on the other hand, as a lot of fans say, well, we've had those moments. You can take our titles, but you can't take away those memories. You can't take
freedom.
Yeah, you can't take our freedom. You can't take last season watching us come back and beat Aston Villa 3-2 and watching Klopp's chops fall down and the rest of the teams. I like that, Klopp's chops. When City snatched the title away from you, can't take that. You can't take that moment when was it? I'm going to remember it now. Leroy Sané scored that goal when we beat Liverpool 2-1. And went on that massive run. You can't take those moments away. So whether a City done something wrong or not, you're not going to take those moments. Aguero moment, you can't take that. It's still, whatever anybody says, it's still the best Premier League moment, regardless if we end up losing it. So, but City fans are genuinely concerned because we don't like to be our club's known to be tarnished. We don't like opposition fans to be able to get one over us, and they will for the next few years have a go at us. And if we get off, they'll say you got off on a technicality, you are cheats. We've heard that consistently since UEFA's thing, and even when CAS exonerated us, we still heard that. We still hear that from opposition fans. They still go there, and we don't want to lose. You know, we don't want a points deduction. We don't want to lose any titles. I don't think a transfer ban's too bad, because like Chelsea, I think when they had a transfer ban, we'll cope. But yeah, it's a concern. You know, these things. If we done wrong, we take it. You never know about lots of. Yeah, we'll tie this up for a couple. You're not going to tie it up for 10 years, but I think 3 or 4 years seems possibly what might happen. Klopp chops for 11 flops. There you go. Blackburn Blu-ray always tops it. Klopp's chops for 11 flops. Look, as we're going to wind down, guys. A lot of people on. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. If you want to follow Bernard, your name's gone, Bernard. Let's go.
It's gone now. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, Bernard's name's back. So you can follow him. Is that your name on Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter and YouTube.
There you go. You can find Bernard, and he is a die-hard City fan of 70 plus. Sorry, 60,
I think I've probably done something on the 1905, 1906 era at some stage.
We put out videos every single day. Yeah. Last thoughts, Bernard, as we wind down and bid everybody farewell. Last thoughts. You know, how do you see this going? And are you going to be in the long run? Are you going to be that bothered?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more worried short term because we're not in a position. You know, we've not really talked about. We've not talked about how we're playing as a football team. But I think in the past with UEFA, we've been confident. Our team's been playing well. We've been winning trophies. We're at a bit of a low at the moment, and this sort of hits us when on the pitch things aren't quite right with the players and Pep, I don't think. And I think that's what worries me a little bit short term. Whether this will just add to the woes, if you like.
Leonard, could that galvanise? You know,
it could do, but I mean, at the end of the day, at the moment, we don't think Pep's quite getting on with certain players. So whether it'll galvanise or put a further wedged between certain parties. We're not too sure. So that's what I'm worried about at the moment. We've always been in a strong position on the pitch when this has been going on. And now we've got this extra thing coming. It might just be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I don't think it will. I think we'll be all right. But it's just a little bit of a beware. Just beware. We're not really, we've got to start winning on the pitch again, and then I'll feel a bit brighter.
I'll ask Mike the same question. Do you think last time when UEFA sanctioned City, it galvanized the club? The Pep came out fighting. Everybody came out fighting. It got us bristling with anger and discontent as fans, and I use this phrase, we were like corner tigers, cage tigers. We came out fighting and we went on to carry on winning. So do you hope that this news, this situation is going to galvanize the fans, galvanize the players and the manager, and that Aston Villa won't know what hit them next Sunday?
I reckon it really will have a galvanizing effect, especially as you're right on the cusp of getting Diaz and Laporte back in the ranks, and I'll stiffen them up. And a lot of these players with something to prove will be giving it to us. I think it might just turn the corner for us. It could have come just at the right time.
Yeah, I hope so, and I hope that.
I'm quite wondering where this Diaz and Laporte on the verge of coming back's come from, because I don't see any sense of that.
About that later.
Let's hope so.
Well, they were on the bench, weren't they?
Well, yeah, they were there, somewhere.
Diaz has been on the bench for the last 3 games, but hopefully I'll be there on Sunday against the Villa, and we'll see. I think the stadium, there's going to be a lot of chatter, there's going to be a lot of noise, and I think the atmosphere is going to be electric. The boys in blue better not let us down on the pitch. It is we put it here.
The boys in blue never give in, do we? That's the song, innit?
Yeah, absolutely. Blackpool Blu-ray says it. Siege mentality. Everybody hates us right now, and I hope we come out fighting. I hope we throw some F-bombs. Pep can throw some F-bombs in the press conference or something. Have a go at these clubs that have had a go at us, and I hope. I like Unai Emery as a manager, but I hope we absolutely pummel Aston Villa and put the frighteners on everybody else. We need that City back. And as you guys have said, hopefully this will galvanise us and we'll come back fighting. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. I hope Bernard has educated you a little bit tonight. And hopefully we'll see you later on this week again. I wonder what bombshells will drop tomorrow, if there'll be anything new tomorrow.
I'm not doing a City in the papers tomorrow. I'm not going to buy a paper tomorrow. I can't be bothered.
Yeah, well, I wanted to go. As I said, I wanted to talk about Pep and how he's ballsing things up, but this has taken over. It's taken half my day. This, but hopefully we'll hopefully at some point we'll get back to talking about what goes on the pitch. Guys, Bernard and Mike, thank you so much, guys. Look after yourselves, everybody, out in the blue City colours, and fingers crossed. It's going to take ages to resolve, so let's not worry too much about it. We have that kerfuffle the first couple of days. Let's put it to bed. Let's focus on the football, because it's what we do best at Manchester City.